you meet that guy, and not only until like 6 months later, because you don't want to scare him away, you ask the question, hey, do you see yourself with kids? Ask it early. Like,
Scare him away.
please. And if you're scared, because I have friends that said, but Martha, I'm going to scare this person away. Scare him away. If he leaves, then that's not the person for you. The same with guys, you know, like ask these things. Because then later, now you're in a relationship. And then what happens? Now you're in love. Now the families, the friends, everything. And then you start asking those questions. And now it starts the battle of trying to make the other person change.
That doesn't work.
Of course not. No. Nobody can change anybody. Nobody can change anybody.
And what happens when you're trying to change someone else? What does that say about you?
What I think it says is that you really don't love them deeply. Because when you love somebody deeply, you can accept them and you can see them. And I think there's a difference between falling in love and loving someone deeply. And falling in love is the process in which you are recognizing yourself through the eyes of your lover. So, Louis, you're an amazing guy. And I tell you these things, right? And you know this about you. There's this hidden part of you, you go, yeah, I'm an amazing guy, actually. And you hear me saying it and you go, oh my God, I love you. That's falling in love. You're seeing yourself through my eyes because I see your qualities and I say them to you, you see them. But then there's the other part, which is really deeply falling in love, is to see everything about that person. Not only the good parts, also the other parts. And saying to that person, I accept you.
Right.
You're not perfect and you don't have to be because no one is.
Right.
I accept you. And because I'm able to see all of the parts of you, then I love you deeply. So, for example, when I was dating you, everything you were saying and you were being and your action and everything, it was information for me about who you are. Because my intention was not to change you, not to do anything, but just to get to know you. And like I said, people are fascinating, right? And especially when you're in the dating process, I met you and I was like, oh my God, who's this guy? I want to know who he is, what he is all about. And so anything you would do, I wouldn't take it personal. And so I think, and I don't know if you agree, but sometimes the mistake that we do is that we try to accommodate to the other person because we want to be loved, we want to be liked, or we see only the best parts that they have, but we don't see the other parts, right? Right. And so then when we do that, we kind of cloud ourselves, we cloud our vision, because we're not seeing who the entire persona is, the entire personality is of the person that you're seeing. And for example, there was, on a different time, I went out with a guy that was great, but he was into ketamine. I don't do any drugs, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. And so instead of being judgmental, because that's the thing, the mistake we make very quickly, we become judgmental. Instead of being judgmental, I was so curious, who is this person? I want to know. And then when he mentioned that, with curiosity, I was like, oh, tell me more. I want to know more. And then obviously what happened is I went home that night and I was like, this is not the guy for me. It will be the guy for someone else, for sure, that enjoys that, which is good, but not for me. So that's why I feel like knowing yourself very well is very important in order for you to then go out in the world and meet other people and find whomever it is your best match. So for me, when I met you and you were like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs, I was like, yes! I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs. And for me, that's important, and the values. The values were very important. And you have amazing values and integrity, you have this generosity, you are kind with people. And I think for me that was very important to see that you're not only saying that you have all these values, because we had conversations about values. You're not only saying that, you're being the values that you're saying. And it was really beautiful when I met you to see you be, and to see you be you. And so then it was never after I healed, it was never my intention to ever want to change anyone. Because if we are honest with each other and our pasts, in a way, Louis, I think we were trying to change our ex-partners in some ways, you know? So whether it was like, if it was, let's say, one of the exes, an explosive personality, here I was, or here you were, hey, read this book, there's this podcast, you know? In a way, you're trying to help them. But at the same time, we're not accepting who they are. And so that's why I feel like accepting the other person is one of the biggest things to create a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. And that's why it's beautiful being in a relationship with you, because I feel accepted.
Yo también. I feel accepted
I feel
too.
accepted, and I feel like it's hard to, that's why I think it's important to be so upfront and honest with people in the beginning of a dating experience so they get to see most of you if possible. You know, obviously people are going to be on their best behavior or whatever when they're starting to get to know each other. But I think when I was getting to know you, yes, I was being a gentleman and I was being nice, but I was also being fully honest about who I've been in the past, who I am now, and who I plan to be in the future. And I think I was so clear with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was trying to hide things. And when you would ask me questions, I would say, okay, I'm going to share with you authentically who I am. But I don't know if you're going to like it. And I don't know if you're going to accept it. And a lot of times I feel like people hide the things they aren't proud of because they feel like the other person's not going to accept them or love them, and they're going to want them to change something. As opposed to saying, this is all of me, and maybe I'm working on some things that I'm not proud of, or I'm trying to improve here, but this is where I'm at right now. Can you accept me? I think I feel like I struggle thinking that a lot of women can't accept men fully with all their shame and past and, you know, challenges and mistakes they've been through in general. Do you feel like women struggle with accepting the men that are in front of them if they really knew all their shame and insecurities?
Yeah.
And why do you feel like it seems to be women want to change men so much?
From your perspective.
From your
seems
perspective.
to be women that
Yes, that's my perspective. And why do you feel that happens where women try to change men as opposed to accepting them?
I think it happens both ways. I think it also happens with men, but I think it's more common for me to hear the stories from women.
Yes.
Because I hang out with more women. So I hear, you know, maybe you hear stories of guys that say, oh, I wish my girlfriend wouldn't be this jealous. So that's a guy that wishes to change his girlfriend as well,
But
right?
that's who she is.
But this is who she is, or this is who she is at this moment in her life, because maybe with therapy and things, she will change that about her. But he won't be able to change that. It has to come from within. I think what happens is that I think when women are trying to change their man, number one, you come off as very controlling. I feel like this is the thing. The thing is that nobody can change anybody. That's the truth. Like if there's a truth in life, is that humans are unpredictable. And when a woman is trying to change her man, she's trying to feel safe. She's trying to create a man that won't hurt her. A man that won't look at other women. A man that will like follow to a T every single thing that she wants and does. So then therefore I'm not hurt, and so therefore I feel safe. But the reality is that in human condition is that no human, no man or woman is controllable. Like you want to control somebody, get a dog. Don't get a boyfriend. Don't get a girlfriend. Don't get a partner, because you're not going to control that person. But I think there's this feeling of, if I have the control of this person, then I will feel safe. And that is a myth. Like safety in life is a myth, because life will forever continue to move and evolve and change. So the same as a human being. You will not control a person because he will always continue to safe. And the second that person or that guy feels controlled over and over again, that person's going to want to run away. Yeah. And I always say it to my girlfriends, think about it the opposite way. You know, imagine you are complaining, your boyfriend is complaining because you went out with the girls. A lot of women sometimes complain, oh, my guy went out with the guys. you know. Imagine it's the opposite way. And you're the one that went out with your girls and you show up at home, and instead of showing up at home, hey, I missed you, how was it? You show up with this guy that is like, so what happened? What do you do? Like, you're gonna start feeling like you're not free. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be free in a relationship to be yourself. And if you can't, you start feeling trapped. You start feeling frustrated. And then you want to run away.
Yeah.
You tell me, but you're the guy. But I feel like that would happen to me if it was the other way around. Mm-hmm.